Hello and welcome to this issue of Point Counterpoint. We are here in the middle of a absolute dastardly tragedy that has happened on Sunday evening. We are here shooting this on Wednesday, where a very high-end Mercedes SUV driven, we don't know by who, but with Paresh Savardekar and his wife Meghna on the front seats, and while they were approaching the Banastarim bridge, the car swerved and took in its wake about 2 or 3 vehicles, motorcycle riders and their pillions, leaving behind a trail of blood, gore and death. 3 innocent lives have been lost for no reason at all. There are 3 people who are struggling between life and death, and even if they survive, their conditions are such that they might end up being the living dead, where life would literally have no meaning. In the middle of it is the larger narrative of a high-end car driven by very rich people, powerful people, builders, with absolute and clear-cut connections with people in power, with there being no debate about the fact that people in the legal fraternity, the political fraternity and the business fraternity are all with them. There seems to be no remorse absolutely at this, because eyewitnesses have come up with horrific stories of one of the 2 people, the man and the woman who were there, having apparently literally dismissed the whole incident by allegedly saying that accidents happen, and when accidents happen, some people survive and some people die. There is a larger issue here. One is, we need to figure out whether this case is being already botched up or not. There are allegations by the people that a game, quote unquote, has already been played, where we do not know whether the person who was behind the wheel is the one who has been arrested. Number 2, there is a lot of doubt being expressed, and we need to check this, whether enough checks have been made to see a foolproof investigation is initiated. For instance, have the CCTVs been checked right from the time where the couple left the party they were in, and it was a big party and there were a lot of people there, Rotarians, many of them, all along the way, whether all the CCTV footages have been checked all along the way to see who was actually driving. Number 2, have other things been checked? For instance, the space between the wheel and the seat, which would indicate whether a tall person or a short person, the man and the woman, of course, was driving. So there are a lot of things which will come up in this discussion, but we will not restrict ourselves only to this. We will look at the larger issue and spend a lot of time on this, as to why these kinds of incidents of drunken driving keep on happening with absolute impunity and with complete disdain for the law. There are laws, there are regulations, there are committees, there are teams with budgets and funds allocated to look at road safety in its various aspects. But all of them are completely either ignored and non-functional. There is the basic problem why this happens is not just because people drink and drive, but because there is absolutely no fear. Will you be able to do this in Bangalore? We don't need to go abroad. Will you be able to do this in Bombay? Will you be able to do this in Chennai? You will not. But you do it in Goa because everything goes as far as Goa is concerned. There is a lot to unpack on this, and we'll get into the debate right away, and we have a very eminent panel and very well equipped to handle each of these issues. Mr. Roland Martins, consumer right activist of Goa, needs no introduction, but will bring a lot of depth into this discussion. Advocate Shashank Narvekar is a counsellor, and also obviously one of the leading lawyers, who is very sensitively looks at these issues in depth and has spoken out about this issue as well. On my left is Advocate Raviraj Chorankar. He is a counsel, but he has also in the last few days been seen as being solidly with the families of the victims and others, initiating a movement to see that justice is done. And Dilip Naik on my extreme left is the founder, president of the Road Safety Forum, and going to be a very important player in this discussion. I will first start with Advocate Raviraj Chodankar and then go to Roland and then the others. First up, if you can just talk about this specific case and where do you think the loopholes are already, and why you all expressing the apprehension that the case is being botched up?
First of all, Digvijay Velinkar's statement is not at all looked into in this matter. His statement is very crucial because he would have been a victim in this matter. He was like, if that pole was not there, that statement we have heard from everyone. If that pole was not there, it was that he was the next person. He has seen that accident so closely. But his theory is unbelieved. He has seen, after that accident, I would presume that he would be the first person who must have even rescued the inmates of the car. He would have been the first person who would have opened the door, and whether you would have seen whether the car who drove ration negligently are alive or not. His theory is unbelieved today. He gave a statement immediately on the spot, within 15 to 20 minutes, say about in half an hour. He was not even knowing who were the drivers, how strong they were as regards their context is concerned, financially, other things. He was not even knowing that. He gave a statement that a lady was driving, but that theory is not at all believed by any of them. There is a eminent person, a Sarpanch of Tivre Village Panchayat, who also gave a statement as regards that unfortunate incident is concerned. But his theory also is unbelieved.
Digvijay Velinkar was actually coming from the other side. He was moving from Panjim towards Ponda.
Exactly.
And the killer Mercedes was moving from the Ponda side towards Panjim.
Yes.
So he actually saw the car before it swerved in front of him, taking many vehicles.
Yeah.
So you are saying that he would have a clear line of sight of the woman driving the car.
Exactly, to him. Exactly. But his statement is not believed because there is. I was in police station yesterday.
Right.
DYSP is on record telling to the public and fooling the public that how come he did not see that lady who fell under the bridge. Because he could not see, he has not seen the accident. This is the theory coming up before the public. This is bad. He is the first person to rescue that lady also. He is the first person. Even I know, I mean, I have a reliable information. The moment there was an accident, the commotion, the first person who flew from the spot is Mr. Savadekar. He flew from the spot. He went from the spot and he left his wife, his children over there.
Okay. But you are saying he was not driving
he was not driving the vehicle. Now, second theory which is coming now, that lady who was driving, she went to the driver's seat because she wanted to rescue her husband or something. I would tell you that the moment the car hit that first bike, both the balloons exploded. The moment the balloon exploded, there is no chance to forget about moving. There was no chance. They are talking about shifting from one place to other. It was not at all possible. Absolutely, it cannot happen.
It blocks you.
It blocks you. The only thing is one can open the window and he or she can come out of the window.
Right.
They cannot shift from one place to other place. This is a theory not at all looked into. The third thing is the seat, the area, the leg space.
Yes.
Obviously, obviously the woman would take little. She will take little front space, and he is even otherwise Mr. Savadekar. He is a tall man. So he would take little this thing. That also is not considered here. Absolutely, it is not considered.
Right.
Witnesses' statements are not considered. Witnesses' manipulations witnesses are manipulated. Some other theories roped in here. The third one is now they are trying to plant some stock which pancha witnesses. Yesterday a lady came to on record saying that my husband, who is already involved in 6 and 7 cases wherein he acted as a pancha witnesses, he is purposely planted in that matter just to save the victims, just to save the culprits.
On what basis are you making this strong allegation? As in on what basis are we saying that this punch witness is a regular fellow?
That lady made a statement yesterday. That lady made a statement that he is already involved in 6 cases.
So he appears to be a stock witness and then is discredited for
we have Supreme Court cases also. We have High Court cases. We remember.
So who is this lady who made the statement?
The wife.
Wife of that statement, who was acted as a who is supposed.
Oh, the wife of the punch
witness.
Okay. Advocate Shashank, I'll just come to you. Advocate Shashank, just tell me now, based on what Advocate Raviraj has said, and he's spoken about various incidents of how this could have been completely botched up. Now the issue here is, in this case, what can still be done? What should the police do?
See, there are several sections which are attracted here.
Right.
And one of them is the culpable homicide 304. There is the rash and negligent driving. Now, the important thing for any person who has been rash and negligent in such a way, causing death or harm or any of the things that have happened in this, the most important aspect of this is the evidence. Now, a concerted effort is being made right from the time that the accident has happened to hide that evidence. First of all, I think that the Home Department who is handling this should remove those officers who are involved there. They need to be removed, and this is a repeated thing which is happening in all high-profile crimes where there are high-profile people involved. All such officers who are under investigation in other cases, who don't have a clean record themselves, are being put in charge of investigation of such cases. First of all, these officers who are giving these theories prior to completing their investigation, see, they have a duty to carry out the investigation, not come out in the public and make open their theories of what they think is right.
Right.
These officers first need to be removed. Evidence, as far as like my colleague said, that there are certain things which have not been taken into account. First of all, have a free and fair investigation. Without free and fair investigation, none of these cases come to its logical conclusion.
Right.
The aspect of whether law in general is acting as a deterrent is the main question here. Before a person sits in a car in an inebriated state, starts driving in a rash and negligent way, there should be something that comes to his mind which will deter him from starting the vehicle itself.
Right.
Our legal system, although there are all these balances in place, has failed to cause this question in the mind of each citizen who starts driving the car in an inebriated state. So, if the investigation, the evidence, and in turn the entire case now which will follow is based on the initial investigation, which itself is not being done properly, how do you expect that result to come? See, we cannot, my heart goes out to the families of people who have lost their lives, even to the people who are in the hospital. But frankly speaking, it's high time that the government and the forums, like my colleague is here who is representing one of the forums, Goa Can, there are suggestions given, there are places where we can put checks and balances. Why is it that when there are high profile people involved in such kinds of incidents, that all this botching up of collecting of evidence, all these things happen? These officers first need to be removed. A proper investigating officer needs to be put in place who can start constructing the entire incident from scratch again. It is not too late even now to do it.
Then tell me, the fact that the alcohol test or the breath analyzer test was not conducted upon the lady, how will that impact the investigation, if at all?
The question of rash and negligent driving and to prove whether the person was rash and negligent does not require the aspect of being drunk only.
Right.
That is one aspect of it which attracts, I think, section 143A(b),
right,
which is insofar as drunken driving is concerned. Now, the section of rash and negligent driving to be proved, first of all, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that that person, whoever was driving the vehicle,
right,
whether in an inebriated state or not, was driving in a rash and negligent manner.
Right.
So for that, the question doesn't come whether the person is drunk or no. Now, of course, after 2 days, 3 days of the incident has passed, that person will not fall within the purview of whatever are the levels of alcohol that should be there. But for the investigating officers today to make statements that this person was driving and not, and discrediting witnesses who are standing at the spot there, when they have themselves started the investigation almost 24 hours later.
Right.
Till this person entered the police station and said that I am surrendering as the person who was driving the vehicle.
Right.
What investigation has been carried out from 8 p.m. on the unfortunate night that this incident took place?
Correct.
Till the person entered the police station.
Right.
It was only groups, it was the villagers, it was the people who were affected by it.
Right.
Who started the movement to push, like my colleague also has been involved in that,
Exactly.
to push for a free and fair investigation.
Right.
So what is the failure here? To prove beyond reasonable doubt that that person who was driving in a rash and negligent manner is the investigation. Correct. The investigation from point 1 has never been done properly here.
Correct.
They are trying to shield influential people, and till our system supports this kind of shielding through the officers who are supposed to give protection to us, this system will never give justice to the people who are getting, who are the affected parties.
Right. Well, I'll come to you. Before we get into so many other aspects which you surely want to talk about, our heart should actually go out to people whose lives have been lost in this kind of a useless manner. There are so many lives which are lost on golden roads like this, and nobody seems to talk about this. Also, at the same time, do you feel a time has also come, in addition to other measures that you might suggest, that the onus on compensating the victim should be with the accused and with the person who has actually done this deed, apart from other things that they are saying, that you compound the license, the fact the person should not get the license for the rest of their lives, and also the case should be registered as a murder case, and so on and so forth. My point is, what is the justice for the victims?
So to put it in context, I'll just give you one example.
Right.
I don't know if you realize, in the last 8 months,
Right.
there have been a series of accidents on the Donapal Road,
Yes.
where poles have been knocked off.
Right.
Each pole minimum costing 1,25,000. A case has been filed before a conciliation committee, where a consumer has claimed that you are registering an FIR, the electricity department, to basically get a new pole released from the store and erect it and give the connection. Not a single nai paisa has been recovered. So this case has been filed under deficiency of service under Consumer Protection Act. Interestingly, the notice went to the SP Traffic and Electricity Department, Chief Engineer. Chief Engineer, the department people were there, they admitted. Our question was simple, that the district recovery officer has to come and play, and money has to be recovered. You are from Delhi or whatever. Now, I am talking about a pole, a cement concrete pole. Now we are talking about human lives.
Right.
See, the question, I think, central to this whole thing is, I recently have written to the SP Traffic. If you go to the police website, there is just one paragraph on traffic police. Now, the key question of what is the role of the traffic police, what it's supposed to do, how many cases it has booked, I mean, whatever, how many programs it had, nothing is there. Now, okay, it's going to happen in due course. The problem here is that for many people, they believe that the traffic police is going to look into this case. It's not so. Traffic police has a task of doing prevention. Even the alcometer test is their responsibility. Of course, the local police also can use an alcometer. But when it comes to an accident, the investigation is done by the local IO of that police station.
Right.
Now, in a way, it's terrible what has happened. But I think on the other side, I think the rainbow is that this has happened at Banastarim, and therefore it has taken the heartland of Goa into this debate. You see, the point is, many people think that those who drink, and I think that Ponjekar thing came, that those who drink, they drink in Panjim and crash in Panjim.
Right.
It's a very interesting case where you drink in Ponda and you crash in Banastarim, but you live in Panjim. So I think this had turned the whole thing around.
Right.
And today, if I can see the kind of movement that's building up at the panchayat level, you know, Sarpanch is speaking, panchayat members speaking, I think it's a very, very important turning point.
Right.
Where people will start to see two things. One is, of course, people know that road accidents are taking place, people are dying. But how the law treats,
Right.
The accused and the victim.
Right.
Where is the attention? How much effort was made to, console the families, even go to their houses.
Right.
Not a single official has gone to their house.
Correct.
No Mamledar, no deputy collector, at least to go.
Correct.
You have lost 2 members from one family.
Correct.
I mean, it's heartbreaking to see. But then I think it shows the cracks in the system.
Right.
And I think it has come at a very opportune time.
Hmm.
World Tourism Day is going to be celebrated on 27 September.
Mhm.
There is this feeling that the new Gurgaon, the new Noida is unfolding in Goa, where the rich and famous
Right.
will use these high-end vehicles, SUVs, kill at me. And you can see the fact that there are 4 challans raised, not a single challan paid.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is exposing the whole system.
Right.
And I think, therefore, the challenge before civil society is how do we deal with this part of it?
Right.
Of preventing. So, like when we started this whole discussion about don't drink and drive, many people are laughing. I think,
Right.
Goaikar kaun piyata, ose kitle piyata. But you can see today, this kind of drinking is a different thing. The guy sits at the taverna and the pub and then cycles back home.
Correct.
He is not the guy who's killing anybody.
Right.
This is a dangerous cocktail, wherein you take drink and you take high speed.
Right.
The combination of this is creating 2 new things. One is hit and run. Okay, this is partly hit and run because the guy fled.
Right.
So the hit and run thing has to come.
Right.
And the second thing is clear-cut drunken driving. And I think, therefore, the question is, what kind of investigation team has to be there? Can this anymore be left to a local police station? I think there has to be a specialized unit exclusively to deal with hit and run and drunken driving. There's no question. And this incident, I think, throws that question to the Home Department.
Right.
Are we going to create a special unit exclusively to deal with it?
Right.
Otherwise, we have no future because Goa is a tourism destination.
Right.
We are going to see 20, 30 more such cases in the coming season, 100%. There's no doubt about it.
Right. Dilip, coming to you. You heard all of us here, and you're of course closely involved in this whole situation. What are your initial views on what has happened, plus a little bit about what Roland Babu said about whole issue of road safety?
First of all, it is unfortunate that we are meeting here. Every time there is accident, we are meeting in one or the other studio. When accident took place in Pernam, 1-year child entered his 32 years old mother. That was the negligence of a contractor. Roads, 4-lane road suddenly, converging in 1 lane. And
that Mopa ring road.
Driver didn't get the prior information that road is going to this, so to slow down. That time I met CM. I met CM on 4th of October, and we discussed about that accident. And from that time to now, I'm constantly meeting. One good thing is that if when I call him, he takes my phone. That's one good thing. But then, based on on 4th October, CM was there on CM's bungalow. Then IGP, Director of Transport, PW, all heads were there. And I gave them more than 1 hour presentation. And I showed them AK-47 in monkey's hand. Now today, this all Mercedes. And then broad roads are nothing but AK-47.
So you're saying this high-end cars driven is like an AK-47 in a monkey's hand?
Monkey's hand, yeah. Right. And coming to this yesterday's incident, when, as my colleague rightly said, when Digvijay Velinkar spoke about all these things, he was not knowing anything that who is who.
Exactly.
What he saw, he spoke, and he said that lady was not in a position even to stand. And then police trying to say that to save family, and then she jumped from this side to that side. All the people said she was not in a position even to stand. So this is this, and Roland Martin. Then before that, I brought his book Gurnath Kelekar for so many years. My friend Sanjeev Sardesai, only one file of his I got. So 2 days before he has given me all of his work. I got my work which I show in every debates and all. Government is not just interested in all this what we tell. I got over 25 years of experience in road safety, which I want to use to save lives of our people.
And the government doesn't involve people like you.
Government doesn't want us. This is road safety is a mockery in Goa.
Right.
I told we have got clear-cut solution for all the problems.
Right.
They are not ready to discuss and come forward with that.
So tell me, in this particular case, or about other cases, what are the crucial aspects of road safety that are not being followed in relation to drunken driving or reckless driving?
See, first of all, now drunken driving, if I get a driving license
Right.
with a lot of effort, lot of
Right.
study,
Right.
like in Dubai or other this,
Right.
so many lessons and so many tests and spending, I will not just carelessly do drunken driving and surrender my license. License is a big thing for me. The way the licenses are given in Goa, there is Supreme Court writ petition 295 2012. No driving license ought to be given merely based on your vehicle maneuvering skills. You should know rules of the road. No rules of roads are being taught in the driving school, nor they are asked by the inspector. There is capping on how many driving licenses one inspector can give per this. That is not followed. It is a business. For driving schools and for everybody, it is a business. Overall road safety is a business for everybody, and all this is all business for the people who do PWD work, the engineer. Now from Pharmagudi to Panjim, signages are put. They are not as per IRC 67. IRC 67 says there should not be cluster of signages. They are put like mushrooms. All wrong signages put in wrong place. Driver doesn't get the information prior to the signal. You don't get information. Tourists don't know which side they have to go. If that information is not given properly, so they change last minute. They change this. So you must have seen the signal is green. Still you are stuck up. Why? Because somebody changed the lane and he was not informed that which lane he has to take. So such things we want to freely we want to guide government. Please take us on board. We don't want anything from you. You are getting a consultant from Bangalore and Delhi, paying them crores of rupees.
You have voluntary consultants here.
Yeah, we are ready to do this for free,
Right.
to save our own life and our near and dear. We are coming from Ponda to Panjim, especially this old Goa road. Oh my God, one is driving at 20 speed in the right lane, meant for overtaking, and one is right in the left lane. How do I come? I'm getting late. What do I do? Both sides blocked for me. So then some motorcycle lane is there. Somebody still in the middle lane, and it was horrible experience. And then when I reached here, so many rent a car and bikes parked here and there. There's no place for me to park. That took my 10-15 minutes to park.
Interestingly, the main aspect of this accident is a lane movement.
Yeah.
The main reason for this
What
accident,
really happened? They just suddenly swerved, is it?
they swerved out to avoid one truck or something which was there, and the lane movement, there are rules to follow for lane movement, like my friend is saying.
Right.
They have not followed those rules. Neither have they shown a side light, nor have they slowed down to check. Those are the rules you are supposed to follow when you shift from one lane to another.
See, in the recent meeting of the State Council, I proposed to NHI that the 13-kilometer stretch from Verna Junction to Varnapuri Airport and that whole thing, 13 kilometers, take it and make it a complete road safety signage, a kind of model.
Correct.
So anybody can go and say how it should be,
Correct.
because that's under central government.
Right.
Now, you see, if they take this up, it's there, it's recorded in the minutes, etc. See, point here is that unless we see something what is totally correct, what Dilip has pointed out, we'll carry on. I've come from Kankonda. I will tell you, if you see this "Don't drink and drive" signage at Naveli, it's in red. But when you reach Kankon Chaudi, it's become yellow. So, can there be two different colors?
Right.
So, the point here is that some kind of sense has to come into this whole thing, and while this sense is coming, we are losing lives every 25-26 hours.
Correct. I'll just come back to you. The last point that he said about losing lives every 25-26 years, in this particular case, Advocate Raviraj, see, the point is, let me draw the discussion back on the fate of the victims and the fate of the victims who are still living, but we don't know whether they'll survive or not. Now the point is, what are we doing about these things? I mean, should there be an absolute drastic alteration of law or strict implementation of the law that already exists to see that when the victims pass away or die in such accidents, their families are completely protected, not only by the state, but there should be enough compensation extracted from the accused or people who kill to see to it that their lives get back in order?
So unfortunately, there is no provision as regards compensation is concerned. We have a motor accident claim tribunal, but it depends upon your income. It depends upon your age. That factor comes into picture.
Right.
Now the central government has enacted recently, and now the no-fault liability is increased from 50,000 to 3 lakhs rupees.
Right.
Now this is after almost 60-70 years, they have increased it from 50,000 in case of death to 3 lakhs rupees.
Right.
But apart from that, there is no system there. Unfortunately, coming to that incident, that service road exists for almost 10 years now. We saw it on record, DYSP speaking that there should have been a rumbler there to curtail that minac. That rumbler is still not installed over there. If the rumbler would have been there or speed breaker would have been there, that at least it would have avoided that accident. That it is a main junction.
Right.
It is a main junction.
Right.
That is also not.
Okay. No, but what I'm saying is, yeah, we've spoken about the road safety aspect, engineering aspect, other things. My point is, as far as the human aspect is concerned, what else can be done to give more rights to families of victims?
We cannot.
Who's fighting for that? Because ultimately,
this is one thing I want to intervene and point out. See, we have never tested the waters on the civil liability and criminal liability on people who do these things.
Right.
See, in the US, in the UK, and other developed countries, law has moved much ahead. Now we have to definitely start looking at the interventions that are possible.
Correct.
And one thing that we have suggested is that first of all, there has to be a separate website for the traffic police where all the deaths that have been taken place in the last 6-7 months, name of the victim, incident, when it happened, what are the sections it is booked in, where is the first hearing held. See, the point is, unless people go into the courts, be part of the process, we don't have witnesses who from the civil society. So Directorate of Prosecution also has to train people to come forward to be witnesses. Even in a hit and run case, how do you identify the number? So there are so many things that need to be done. The question here is whether, one thing that we would like to look at is get the 2 law colleges involved and create a team of support to try and look at how best this thing can be addressed. Because here there is one case, and we have the 3 people who got drowned the other day, okay, in the bridge incident. Now there also you can see the barricades are not there.
No, but my point here is that if in the Nirbhaya case there could be such major legislation with regard to rape laws, my point is, why can't this be a turning point in bringing about an important legislation?
Yeah, but with in the Nirbhaya case, you look at the mass movement that has developed, and I think this is the turning point that is coming. That around this case, I see the hope in a movement which was like, tumi road safety karta mane kara tumi amka te laga na. This is going to change.
Do you agree? Is this a turning point?
No, it can be a turning point if every village, every city, every town in Goa, everybody starts getting to move out of their house. See, we have seen start of such kind of movements in the last 7-8 years. We have seen the spark sort of ignite with some of the movements. They have not transferred or ended up being major movements. Now, when you spoke about the Nirbhaya case, the kind of civil society movement that was there was pan-India.
Right.
In Goa, we don't see that movement. In the last 10 years, unfortunately, we have not seen a single. The only last movement, I mean, just one meeting which we had was with regard to Save Madhe. There is no other movement which has happened in the last 10 years which triggered a sentiment with everybody. See, for having such a movement, it has to trigger a sentiment within you. You should feel that this incident has happened in your house.
Right.
Problem is that today's and I know I will be I'll get some fire for saying this. Our generation today is interested only in seeing what is best for themselves.
Right.
And that is where the problem lies. I'll give you a simple example. When the cyclone hit and we were doing cleaning up work within my ward where I'm elected, I could see that the fathers, as in the older gentlemen within that vicinity, were out to help us, while their children were standing in the balcony pointing at, "Are thai ulla, thai ulla." See, it is a shame for me to expect that my father, who is 60, 70 years old, should be doing that work while I stand inside directing him. But that sentiment is not there within our younger generation today to feel that they are part and parcel of this entire system, because we as parents are training them only to run towards earning money.
Correct.
And not having any morals. So
and that is reflected even in this case.
It is reflected in this case. Now, why are these people with more money being protected while the victims are not being given any sympathy? Is because they have also, and it's unfortunate, but there were 3 children sitting in the car of the person who was driving that vehicle also.
Right.
If we were today in any other country apart from India or some of the selected countries, those children would have been picked up by social security services and sent to foster homes, declaring that these parents are unfit to take care of those children. Today those parents are setting an example to their children that, look, I was drunk, I was driving, I have killed 5 people, yet I can go scot-free because I have so much money. I'm sorry, 3 people, because I have so much money. So you are now creating another generation of people who is following the same model to continue the same system. And what is the root cause of this? Because the focus is only on money, not on morals.
Right.
The morals, if there would have been morals, now I appreciate the people from the village who are stepping out.
Absolutely correct. From Diwar and other places.
Yes, all these people who have stepped out, because they seem to be giving more importance to the value of those lives than the people who are sitting in the car. See, today the people who are driving the car only have escaped from injury because it was a high-end car.
Correct.
You have to realize that that vehicle not being this Mercedes make, which had so much protection around it,
Right.
probably they 5 also would have been either dead or in a bad condition.
Yes.
So it is finally you are setting an example where you have money, you have a good car, so you go scot-free. What example are these 2 people today setting for the children who are those 3 children sitting in the car?
Correct. Yeah. The thing is, taking off from where Shashank left off, and he's raised some very important points. As a member of the legal fraternity, what changes in law would you recommend immediately to be further deterrents to such activities?
There is no deterrent. As far as Goa being tourism state, there is absolutely no deterrence. In Himachal Pradesh, 304A is amended.
Right. Right.
It was amended in 1997.
Okay.
There the punishment is 7 years.
Right.
Otherwise the punishment is 2 years.
For
304A.
Yes.
Okay.
What section is attracted for negligent driving is 304A
Right.
and not 304.
Right.
So that deterrence fact, as my colleague said, that if he was in Dubai, first would have been the license would have got cancelled. The second thing, he would have been behind bars. But in this case, particular case, they are still at home. The culprit is still at home, taking shield of the court today. And taking interim relief. They are sitting at home. I don't know how their morale accepts this. Absolutely, it is unfortunate incident. According to me, that lady should have come, should have surrendered it.
Correct.
Because of this unfortunate incident and arrogant incident, she should have surrendered it.
Okay.
She is going to the court and she is taking protection. I'm not on court whether court has to grant it or not. It is their discretion. But this her act proves that how arrogant and how shameless that lady is.
Dilip Bab, now the point is, what is the role that politics plays, especially in Goa, in kind of totally scuttling and totally destroying all intentions of road safety that you might have? In the sense that in most of these incidents, ultimately and unfortunately, it all boils down to political will and the influences that politicians and the system plays. Now, my issue is in this case and in other cases, how does political interference affect road safety?
See, well, actually, politicians should do some constructive work. They are doing destructive work. Altogether, they should set a goal for Goa. In next 5 years, we are going to bring down accident by 50%, 25%, whatever, say 5%. Actually, as per decade of action for road safety 2010 to 20, the goal was to reduce accident by 50%, which failed here. Nobody was knowing also. Now again it is 20 to 30. So somewhere, instead of doing advertisement on FM that the government has done this school and that small movies on that, if you tell about our goal about road safety and reducing accident and how we are going to do it, there is a clear-cut formula how we are going to do. That is focus on the education. That is the education for the driver. About that is a syllabus in a MORT for the driver. All the rules and how to approach a rotary. Everything is there, but nobody knows it. None of the driving license instructors in Goa, if you test them, they are fit to teach driving. They don't know anything. And then this is one. Then the engineering, again engineering, it is a nice weapon in their hand. They can do a lot, but then they are not doing. And now sitting in the assembly, these people are, if some decision is taken, like say traffic sentinel and something, they will see to that, if police is stopping for drunken driving, they will say police is stopping and tourism is destroying. They will just, they are destroying it. They should do constructive work. One or the other MLA comes forward and says, police is doing this, police don't do. People are not behaving properly on the road and you are saying police also should not look at them. Then what? Who will look? Do you have technology here? You don't have technology. Now some artificial intelligence you have done, which is it is a joke. So politicians discuss, keep one day for road safety in the assembly. Discuss point by point. Focus on the public transport system. We have 85% families in Goa are having two-wheeler. 50% are having four-wheeler. That doesn't mean we are rich. That shows how failed system, public transport system. People are forced to take their own vehicle. Today, if there was some good transport from Ponda to Penjim and in this time of tightness, I would have not taken my car, driving myself. So I have no alternative. There is no focus on the all bus communication.
Right. Yeah, Rohit Bab. Now, before we wrap up, but last section is a very important section, what you've been constantly harping about. There are different forums, there are different committees, there are different rules. Just educate us on the various committees that are there which are doing work towards this, but why are they coming up against the blank wall?
See, the point here is that, first and foremost is the systems are not integrated. Like, if you see, at least now openly, people are blaming the PWD. First there was, even in the assembly discussion now, everybody knows that the final buck stops there.
Right.
Okay, so even the signages, the dividers, everything about the roads.
Right.
Okay, even the Banastarim thing, if you look at it, a lot of work requires to be done there.
Right.
They have not done.
Right.
So that is one. The other point is, I think, there has to be a massive campaign on the death and destruction that has happened.
Right.
People have to know it. See, in every constituency, and I think here the media can play a very big role in this.
Right.
Just to document and put it taluka wise, constituency wise.
Right.
Because in Goa we have this thing. Maja gawan jauna.
Right.
So here all the deaths that have taken place, then critically injured. How many people have got disability cards?
Right.
How many people are in the trauma care still? This data has to be released. Now, one very good thing is that 19th of November is coming. That is the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims.
Okay.
So we are pushing now that the next 3 months we want to push a big campaign.
Right.
That look, let's not forget. And one central theme is justice. If you go to the website, worldwide they are saying justice for the victims.
Right.
It is there.
Right.
It's there.
Absolutely.
Support and act for justice for the victims. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to put the pressure on.
Right.
See, the committees at Panchayat level, municipal level, they have to be activated. As I was just saying, in Mapsa, for example, just one major towns, they start taking. There's a lot that can be done. The final thing is that, see, there are gazette notifications which I would say, please carry it on your front page. Accident Analysis Subcommittee, 27 police stations have been notified with the PWD, with the mobile number of that officer.
Right.
Let it be on the front page. Let everybody know that on the 27th of October 2022, this was notified. So how many accidents have been analyzed?
Right.
What is the outcome of that analysis? What are the recommendations? So if you ask me, all these things are in place. What is just required is good networking, effective, implementation and time bounds. We can have a system that every 7 days, the media can carry an update.
Right.
What's going on? Victims are forgotten. See, the victims of January are forgotten in August. Nobody even remembers them. Now everybody is talking about Banastarim. In 2 days' time, there'll be something else. So I think this has to change. We have to keep the victims in focus. And very important, I would say, take up the case of Sushant Naik. Clear, interesting case. How the family fought Sunil Naik, son Sushant. He was a media person. They are all media people, photojournalists.
Correct.
Hit and run in Altin. The trauma they went to battle that case, get the compensation, role of the police. So we need some case studies to be put in public domain, so that, as Advocate Raviraj just put, it will get a booster.
Right.
So that other victims and their families will also, realize that this is not a limited only to Goa. And I think we need to connect with the All India campaign. See, this is the whole thing of the Good Samaritan. Very few people know about the Good Samaritan law.
Quick point, because since we forgot to discuss that.
Yes.
Important point basically on alcometers.
Yes.
The issue is that now when every police station
Yes.
should have a sufficient number of alcometers,
Yes.
so and effective alcometers, so
Yes.
that you can test immediately,
Yes.
rather than take the person to asilo and other places.
Right, right.
Now, what is the status of alcometers?
So recently, through the Road Safety Fund, the money was allocated and the alcometers have been purchased.
No, just for our viewers,
Yeah.
just explain a little bit about the Road Safety Fund and.
See, what is happening with the Supreme Court directions now,
Yeah.
whatever money is being collected through the chalan, say it is 10 crores, 18 crores, whatever it is, 50% has to be transferred into a Road Safety Fund.
Right.
This Road Safety Fund is exclusively for doing campaigns, awareness, some certain important signages, etc. It is not meant for PWD.
Right.
PWDs keep on saying, please give us money. No,
Right.
that has to be done. So, I think with the money which is close to 9 crores, which is there in that, I think the government and all these agencies, for example, do training on prosecution.
No, what about alcometers?
Yeah, so put more alcometers.
Right.
Now 70 have been put. I'm saying, let us not wait for those 70
So
to
you're
break
saying
down.
Goa has only 70 alcometers for the whole state?
No. Right now,
Ah.
70 alcometers have been
Right.
released.
Right.
My point is that you have to create a culture. Everybody should visit the police station and say, sir, alcometer asa, kacha chalta, bare haan. It's like, let us make it a popular thing.
Correct.
So the point is also its maintenance. When it collapses, there should be a standby alcometer. So, all these things have to be in public domain.
Right.
What do you call an alcometer in Konkani? Very important. Like, what do you say for a zebra crossing in Konkani? I'm having a problem. So many people, we talk all this English, bus bay, zebra crossing. So we have to vernacularize this whole thing, make it a popular thing to discuss.
Right.
Compensation, all this section, what is 304A, put it in concrete. So the point I'm making is that unless there is civil society ownership,
Right.
this is going to be a debate. Te koruna, tenchani koruna, and public remains only as a spectator. No, that has to change.
Right.
And I think the time has come now. And if we keep 19th November as a clear cut 3 months time from now as to what we can achieve, maybe we take a review again after 3 months.
Right.
Know.
I mean, your views on the systems that we have now, the committees that we have now, what can be done for those committees, the councils, the panchayats to work better?
See, I look at it in improvement of the current system in 4 ways. One is that there is a government's responsibility. Now, government's responsibility, like my colleague has spoken, is in respect of signals, signages, the condition of the roads, the rumblers, stripes, whatever is required. Second is the driver's responsibility. The license, the way that the licenses are given today is a terrible way.
Right.
They need to be educated properly, and licenses granted should be more stringently done. The third thing is the citizen's responsibility. See, here today one witness has spoken up in this particular case, but how many of us are really ready to stand as witnesses?
Correct.
It is as good as that person being treated, as
As a pariah,
yeah.
yes.
And the fourth thing is the judiciary. See, all these 4 aspects have to come together if we want an actual solution for this problem to come through. So, like my colleague said, that there has to be an integration of all these systems, which is absolutely at zero right now. The police doesn't know how the judiciary is functioning today. Unfortunately, for the criminal aspect of a case of a rash and negligent driving case remains separate, but the compensation you have to file a separate case. And the compensation is from the insurance company, not from the person who has caused the accident.
Exactly, correct.
These things, unless they are integrated together, it is impossible to get any sympathy or any sort of semblance of normalcy back to the lives of the victims.
Correct.
So unless all these things, all these four pillars come together to create and strengthen the entire system together, we will be continuing to see this until people have no remorse whatsoever for deaths of this type on the road. And that is a direction that I feel, unfortunately, being part of this generation, that we are going towards. And I request and plead to all of my fellow citizens that please step forward, avoid this drunken driving business, and also make sure that you support somebody who is in an accident, because that we see a lot of times people fall on the road, nobody comes to help because they'll be a witness.
Right.
So police also needs to pull up their socks, the judiciary needs to, the road conditions need to be better, and everything needs to fall into place. For that there are committees already who are giving recommendations, but unless we all participate in that, and I am pledging today that insofar as Mapsa municipality is concerned, I will take it up as an initiative.
Excellent.
And I will make sure that all these recommendations, signages, whatever are to come in the Mapsa, even if I am not in the committee, I will be voluntarily there for all the meetings, make sure that it is done.
Great, good to hear that. Advocate Abhiraj, your final submissions on what needs to be done to see that our roads are free of reckless driving and drunken driving.
There should be first the deterrent effect has to come in. The first thing is, in such cases, the law should come and it should say that first you should be behind bar. It should be non-bailable offence. Now, what we have 304A is a bailable offence.
So you're saying there should be a non-bailable
offence? It is a bailable offence. Right. It should be a non-bailable offence. And again, a law should be that you are paid from your pocket. As my learned friend said just now, that who pays is ultimately is the insurance company, not from the pocket from of that person.
The person who is driving the killer car doesn't have to spend anything.
No. Now here also, that whatever the compensation is paid is by the insurance company and not individually.
And I'll just add to that, if at all he ends up paying, it will be hush money to keep the witnesses quiet and so that the cases are not pursued. It will not be as compensation.
That's under the table.
It will be to pay to people so that they don't rake up these issues, that it is closed and the case gets settled and closed.
Right. Dilip, your final words on this.
I would say one is accountability for road safety. Now, who is accountable today? Or the police, home minister, CM, or PWD minister, or transport minister? And no accountability. One person should be accountable for total road safety. Road safety, I had suggested to CM road safety commissioner, maybe and committee under maybe retired judge or so. So this has to be done, because all the committees are there: state road safety committee, district, village committee. Roland also trying, myself also trying. We have reached to all the panchayats. Nobody is serious. Now CCTVs are put, but there is no uniform specification. You cannot rely on them. There is no maintenance in Ponda municipal area. CCTVs were erected, 33 lakhs rupees were spent. They worked for hardly 1 year, and there was, because of lack of maintenance, is gone, and nobody was answerable. So for every rupee spent from government exchequer, somebody should be responsible. The one who takes out the tender without maintenance and all, they should be held responsible. So that in such cases now CCTVs would have been, number of CCTVs from Khandepar to this place would have been. Now I don't know, these CCTVs will what.
No, most of the municipalities, they are not, even in Mapsa they are not functioning.
Yeah, that's what.
I want to
add something, please.
I want to make an appeal by this forum, that in this case, in Banastari's case, the first thing I would like to request the government is to take that investigation from the Mardol police station, because they are not acting in just and fair manner. Absolutely, they are not acting in just and fair manner.
You're saying the investigation should move away.
Now CBI director is on record that government is not giving them cases. Now CBI would be an independent authority here who could pull in or rope in, and they can hand over the case. I mean, the state government can hand over the case to the CBI and give justice to the victims.
Okay. Now I think we have unfortunately run out of time, but all very, very important and very solemn points. Before we close, just a few thoughts before we end this. You see, Herald probably was the only channel which was present when the funeral of the couple from Diwar was taking place, and while the funeral pyres were burning, in the light of the pyres, our journalist, our reporter caught the sight of the parents, elderly parents of the man who passed away, and his aged mother was looking, with absolutely blank eyes, and all she could say was, "I told my son that both of you do not leave together, or can you avoid taking this journey?" Obviously, there was, call it a mother's instinct or a mother's way of looking at things. But the point here is, this story actually tells us that in every home there is a deep sense of permanent loss, irrespective of what happens to these cases. And similarly, there are the dead and there are the living dead whose lives will probably be as vegetables even if they survive. And what happens is that most panelists have brought this out very, very clearly. Life might go on for the perpetrators of the crime, but life is completely finished forever for the victims of the crime who are absolutely innocent. They are the ones who did not drink, they are the ones who probably did not even drive, but they are the ones who got completely crushed. And I think as we end this, there are so many things that we can do, but at the core of this lies basic sensitivity and basic humanity, which seems to be lacking everywhere where the system can do so much and it does not. Ultimately, the fact that not a single important quote unquote person, elected person, has even gone to the homes of the victims and given them any kind of a solace. The very fact that the issue is the police investigation still continues, and we'll pass no judgment at this point of time, but there is so much of confusion that that is around. That needs to be settled completely. There is so much of doubt that exists between the public and the police. The very fact that so much of doubt means that there is trust has basically broken down. So ultimately, nothing of what we have discussed so far will be successful if there is basic humanity and sensitivity which is shown and which is depicted, and the whole habit and the whole propensity to ensure that powerful people and rich people get undue and extracurricular protection from the law should be stopped immediately, because that is where the biggest challenge to this whole system is. Because when the system is for the powerful and not for the powerless, then nothing of what we are discussing will ever work. And I think that needs to change immediately before everything else and all the suggestions are ultimately meted out. Thank you very much to all the panelists who've given so much of their time and their views on this, and we hope we work towards safer roads and so that innocent lives are not lost. Thank you so much.